Hey, welcome to Dirty Shirt Workshop. Today I'm building a custom light fixture for the shop here. It's going to be 55 feet long and almost 20 feet wide, almost as big as your mom. Alright, so what am I doing? I'm using more of the LED light strips that I got on the outside, but I want a hanging fixture in the center. This has always been in the plan. When I went and bought my steel track, I bought enough to do this. I bought an extra light strip. It's right here. I finally got it out of the box. And what's interesting with this one, if you saw the last video, I had to redo the power supplies because they kept burning out. This appears that this one that I bought probably 3 or 4 months after the other ones, they've redone the power supply and it's different. But now the power rating, yeah, you ain't gonna get focused, but it says it's only 400 watts, which the other one was set at 600 and it was burning out. So I opened this up because the back just clips in, and all that's in here is some goop, and it's in there. I assume there's another one of those rectifiers in there. I don't think I trust this. I'm probably just gonna make another one of my power supplies and cut this out because it's still DC on the out. All right, so what am I gonna do to make this light fixture? Well, to hang it, I'm going to use cable. So I've already cut a bunch here. I probably need about 100 of these because I got 40 to 50 points and I used 2 cables on each side. This is just 1/8-inch airplane cable that I got from the home store. The 500-foot reel was almost, it was almost the same price as getting like 50 foot. So I just bought the 500. Then what am I doing to hook these? So I stopped at a garage sale I saw that just had a whole bunch of tools quite a while ago. And I got this zip bag here of these electrical ring connectors. It was like 10 bucks for this whole bag. So I thought that was a real good deal, so I picked them up. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling the insulator off and then crimping them on here, okay? So I want this fixture to be level, so what am I doing to make sure that happens? Well, let me set this up here and I'll show you what I'm doing. So I've got my first cable that I cut that's the length I want. This is 16 inches. I put a bread twisty around it just to mark which one's my masterpiece. So when I drop it in the pile, which I've done, I know which one it is so that I can get all these the same length and I don't have error accumulate while I'm cutting them. So I'm just lining these up, cutting it. It's real nice. Every time you cut one, it just unwinds itself and goes around again, ready for the next cut. So then you can just line these up, cut them, and you're good to go. So then, how do I get all my crimps on in the exact same place? Well, first, of course, let me get a few of these ready to go here. So what I'm doing to get these the same length, first I put my connector on one end. In case you didn't know on how to use these, you will always find, that one's bent. You'll always find on these that the ring part on the top, there's a seam, because this is just a flat piece of sheet metal that they form. What you want to do is keep that seam on the round part of the crimp. That way it crimps and holds better. Okay, so then of course I'm going to put my cable in here and crimp it. Now, what I got a finishing nail on here with no head, so that ring fits. Get my other connector in here, and I'll put it in the crimp tool the correct way. I can hook over the nail, put my cable in there, and there we go. Poked one of the wires loose. Whoop. So I can pull the connector tight on the nail, pull the cable tight into the connector, Squeeze it. And now every one of these comes out the same length. I've already built this before. I got 2 hanging fixtures in the house. This system works real good. So then the other question that you might have is, to keep this level and flat, how do I get the holes all in the same place? So let me go show you that next. To get things the same length, I got this wood block that I cut a long time ago. So this slot is the same depth, just a little bit deeper than the edge of this. So it fits over it here. And then I have a hole drilled in there, both sides all the way through. So all I have to do is put that block on, drill a pilot hole with it with my drill, and then I use self-tapping sheet metal screws. I just start it on that hole, drive it through my little crimp connector on the cable, and then they're all in the right place, and this thing will actually sit and hang level from the ceiling, okay? Now what am I doing for power? That's the next thing. So when I did all the electric in the attic, I actually put in 3 boxes for ceiling fans, and I ran a piece of conduit with cable in it, 4 lights. So the inspector was here. That's all been rough inspected. He's seen it. He knows what's up there. So all I have to do is drill a hole in the ceiling. I'll be able to pull my conduit down. I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm actually going to paint the conduit so this all looks one color going up into the ceiling. I have this PVC connector on here, so I'll glue that to my conduit. And then I got this box. I drilled some holes in the side and in the back here. So you can see I got this bolted in. I'll cut that bolt off after I get this up there and tighten it. Okay? And then the screws here, I actually flatten the head out on that so it'll fit in there and fit tight against the bottom of this box. So I got as much meat over here as I can get. So that will ground the box and the fixture together. I'm going to use, now since I got PVC conduit, of course I'm not grounding through the conduit, so I actually hook the ground wire up in here into the outlet. So this whole thing will be grounded too. For the corners, what I'm going to do is actually 3 slots. Here, let me open this up for you so you can see how that looks. So I already did this, just use the chop saw, and I'm making a slot, 3 slots, 7 inches apart. This one's only 6, so I'm going to do 7 for the rest of it, because this radius is only a 10-inch radius here, and I want a 12-inch radius. So the 7 should give me that. And then my light will be able to just go around the corner here. The reason I'm doing that, so this light bends real good, up and down, easy. But side to side, which this is going to be pointing up in the fixture, pretend you're the ceiling, a fly looking down from the ceiling right now. These lights don't really bend this way very much. They make a different version of this light that does do that, but that's not what I had. I ended up buying this because this has this double row of LEDs, and these things are just super bright. That's what I wanted out here. So I got to have that bend so that I can spread this bend out over a larger radius and not break the light.
Just showing what I did here. When I put the conduit in the attic, as well as for my fan boxes, I drilled a small hole from the top down so I knew where all of them were. So this is where the conduit is for these lights.
Check it out. That worked perfectly. I put this in upstairs, but it has conduit straps around this conduit, but they're not completely tight. That worked out perfect. This first one's always the toughest because you gotta worry about not dropping things. Duckbill pliers are great for holding this stuff together so you don't put a screw through your finger. All right, good and strong. Hey, it's the next day. I had to call it. It was just getting late. I was too tired. So I went around and I finished up on the light track today. Just going around and adding more cables in a few spots and straightening out some that were at a little bit of an angle so everything hangs level a little better. I also got the outlet wired up while I was checking that out. I'm glad I did wait till today. There was a puddle of condensate right with the outlet. I'll put a picture here for that. So I went ahead and I sealed the conduit that goes up in the attic, because that's basically just a tube that's going straight to the atmosphere outside. So I sealed it on the top and the bottom, and that led me to also go and seal the conduit that brings the power down for both my garage door operators, because they're set up the same way. And I don't really want water in those. So regarding door operators, you can see right here, I've actually hooked on to my garage door opener. I just have a cast iron pipe here, put a fitting on the end so my reel doesn't fall off. And I got my light reel here. So I'm gonna pull this light reel all the way down to fill this side of the tray and hook into the outlet. And then I'll just unwind the rest of this and basically double it over and pull it around for the rest of the lights. Again, I've done 2 hanging fixtures like this. This 150-foot spool is just too wide to fit in between the cables, because that's only 3.5. This is like 6. And it's too heavy to just leave it laying on there, so it's just a lot easier to unroll it all. I also did replace the power supply with one of my homemade ones. Look down in the description if you want to see how I did that. That's the prior video. I won't bore you with that, but I will drop a picture here of the new power supply. Turns out that goo that was around it is just really crumbly. I don't know what it is. I assume it's probably heat conductive. The chip's got different numbers on it, so it's like a 20M instead of an 8M, so maybe it's actually a better chip. Maybe you can handle more current. But the fact that it only said 400 watts on the outside, that's a lower rating than the other one was rated for. So I just wasn't hopeful about that working out. So I replaced this. I tested it, it does work. Just plug it in quick and unplug. When they're on the reel like this, you don't want to plug them in and leave them, they will melt. Well, at least they're supposed to. I've not actually had that happen, but they get warm quick if they're rolled up. I do know that. So I'll put you on the windowsill here and do some more time lapse so I can listen to some music and hopefully get this light set up and working. Well, it's up. I like it. I like the look. That's what I was going for. Again, the reason it's at the height it is that's higher than the sills, the top of the entrance of the garage doors. So I should never hit anything. Although I did put more cables at this corner right here, since this is the main entrance where I come in with the backhoe, and if I have something big on there, this is where it's gonna get hit and caught and tear that light down. So the crimp connectors, I figure with that, if I do get hung up, it's just gonna tear the whole fixture down and lay it on the ground, which is what I'd want, rather than ripping screws out of the roof truss or out of the ceiling panels and distorting them. I don't want to do any of that. It's finally dark outside. I'm gonna flip this on and see how I did. Whoa, yeah! Wow! Well, I'd say that's a success. Well, this will really make a real difference for my evening projects when I'm working out here. I'm really glad I had planned for that conduit up in the ceiling. I did that before I even had lights in here. You know, dark spot that I had in here is completely gone. This really lit up the floor a whole lot. It's way better. So, yeah, this is a great project. I'm happy. Thanks for watching.